Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting and I have an interlocking gatefold card for you today. These are all over YouTube. You could search interlocking gatefold. There are absolutely loads of them. I've made this card so that I can have it as a 5x7 card. I'm trying to do all of my cards now 5x7 or roughly, just so that it is a bigger card. Kind of got a little bit tired of making those cards that are 4 1/8 by 5 3/4. I just think they're too small. Sometimes I'll do a card that size if it's a little thank you card or a note to say hello. I did a couple of cards for some friends of mine this week. I hadn't seen them for a little while and I just wanted to just say hello to them, just let them know I hadn't forgotten about them. And just it's a different way of sending some flowers, and there were some flowers on a card. But they were kind of that 4x6 size, and like I said, I think they're good for thank you cards and saying hello cards, but for an actual greetings card I prefer something a bit bigger. So I've changed up the measurements that I'd seen other crafters do, and I've got this one, and I'm using the Rain or Shine suite, and it is the Rain or Shine 12x12 paper. Let me just show you, it's in the mini catalogue that's running from January to April. We're already halfway through it. We're coming up towards the end of Celebration as well. So if you are in Ireland, Belgium, UK, France, Germany, Holland, Austria, I think that's all of them. Should be 7. If you are from any of those countries, you can order from me. There is a link to my shop in the description bar, and you can get your hands on this until the end of April, but Celebration runs out at the end of February, and there are some really good Celebration rewards on there. So hop over to my shop and then you'll be able to have a look there. But I've only got the paper with this. I didn't do the stamp set and dies, mainly because I'm not a big stamper. I don't use a stamp set as much as I could, so I didn't get the stamp set, but the paper is lovely, and I've used a fair bit of it, and I've used that paper in this project here. It's got flowers on it, so just a quick look. It's got flowers on it. It's got really wish actually I'd die cut that out, never mind. It's got animals on there. I absolutely love this. How sad does he look that he's out in the rain and his umbrella isn't even catching all of his body? And there are some more abstract designs on there as well, but then also these raindrops, which I just think are lovely, and they have got that kind of pearl effect on them. Really love those. So that's what I made this card out of, and I used this paper with the kind of a scene. It's set in a scene as the front of my card. Now this interlocking card, I thought, oh, that'd be really clever. I'll use the scallop circles. That is a big fat no. That absolutely does not work, because can you see that? Firstly, I haven't reinforced this. That really needs to be 2 pieces of card. And because it's scalloped, those scallop points just keep catching. And even though this is not a card you will be opening and shutting all the time, just with a few open and shuts, I think you could then run the risk of ruining this card, and just breaking it completely. So I'm going to do another one, pretty much the same as this. I've used also from the Rain or Shine paper this very, very bright in Mango Melody flowery paper. For my card, I've actually picked up the raindrops. I need to make sure that my raindrops are actually going in the right direction. I've already made a card this week where my flowers were going in the wrong direction, so I need to make sure that's going the right way. I've already pre-prepared a lot of this, but I will show you how to put it together and what you need to prepare. So the first thing you need to start off with is a piece of card that measures 10 inches by 7 inches. And on the 10-inch side, you are going to score at 2.5 and at 7.5. The alternative thing you can do is score at 2.5, turn your card round and score at 2.5 again. You've got to be as accurate as possible with this, because we need these to flaps to fold in and meet perfectly. I think on the first one I did, it wasn't quite right, and I just had to manipulate that that score line there. So as accurate as you can. Just makes all the difference if that meets in the middle. If it doesn't, it's a tiny bit off. It's not a massive disaster. And really burnish those score lines so you get that as flat as possible. So I'm going to start on the inside and work outwards. Now I've picked this raindrops card. I just like that. I know it's a bit depressing because it's a bit grey and it's a bit gloomy, but you know, it is February, and usually it rains quite a lot in February here in the UK, but it's been quite a dry month, although the day I'm crafting is chucking it down. So this measures 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And I'm just going to put liquid glue on this. I always use liquid glue for layering, just so that it gives me a little bit of extra wiggle room if I need it. With the dispenser glue it doesn't, and it's not that I'm not confident to do it, I'd just rather get it right first time than make a mistake and then have to lift it all up. So give that a good smooth down just to disperse the glue. And then I've got 2 more pieces of this that measure 2 3/8 by 6 7/8. And I'm just again going to stick those down with liquid glue. Now, if you really wanted to make the inside of your card quite colourful or with a lot going on in there, you could actually put your sentiment on the back of the card if you wanted to, but I'm going to have mine in the middle. And I've got a piece of white card that measures 3.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And I've got the happy birthday sentiments from Artistically Inked. Now, when I'm stamping sentiments, I tend to go with Evening Evergreen, although this is leaving us soon. Evening Evergreen, Night of Navy, Basic Grey, maybe Garden Green, something dark, something really, really dark. I am going to be so sad when these colours go, and I think once Evening Evergreen has gone, then I'll start using Starry Sky, which are our 2022-2024 in colours. And I have to say, I've not used the in colours very much. Better start using them. And we'll have a new set of in colours that will be joining us when the new catalogue goes live. So very, very simple, a very simple sentiment inside. I think there's so much going on in this card. It really doesn't need anything too fancy. I'm not putting anything on the front either. There's no sentiment on the front, just because I think it's such a bright, colourful card. So there's enough room on there. For anyone to write a message. That's another reason as well for doing bigger cards. So you've got room to write something inside. Right, so that's dispersed that glue underneath there. And we're ready to work on the front. Now, I've cut these out. I am layering it with some other size, with some other colour card. So what I've done with this is I've had to pick out part of this paper, because the paper is 12 by 12 and my card is 5 by 7. I needed to make sure that I took a section out of that paper that gave me plenty of greenery and flowers, but also enough blue sky as well. So you need to work out whatever paper you're using to work out what section of that you're going to take out. Now I want to layer this. I think it needs some layering, and I've got Granny Apple Green. I just want to make sure, I just want to make sure I've got a full picture going on there, even though that's been split. I want to make sure that I've got these on the right side. So our Granny Apple Green card measures 2 3/8 by 6 7/8. So you've got 2 of those. And then the paper measures 2 1/4 by 6 3/4. Now, if you're new to my channel and you're hearing me talking about celebration and annual catalogues, mini catalogues, and you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I use Stampin' Up products for all of my projects to show you just how versatile, colourful and just beautiful they are. And if you are in, like I said earlier, if you are in Ireland, Belgium, UK, France, Germany, Austria or Holland, you can purchase from me. And if you would like a digital copy of that catalogue for you to purchase from, please let me know. You can drop me an email at taffycrafting@gmail.com. There'll be a link to that in the description bar. There'll also be a link to my shop in the description bar, but also you can order, you can ask via email for a digital copy of the catalogues. So that will be, if you're seeing this before the 28th of February 2023, I'll send you a copy of the mini catalogue and of the celebration catalogue as well as the annual catalogue. So I'm going to put those on there like that, and then we can put that to one side and let it dry off a bit because it's a bit gluey. And that's the only disadvantage, I think, with using liquid glue, that, you know, it does all get a bit wet and a bit sticky. Liquid glue, if you use too much of it and put it too close to the sides, it gets a bit oozy and can sometimes seep out from the edge. So it's a case of using it sparingly. And you don't need to use this card DSP to make this card. You could use this with any DSP. You could DSP is designer series paper. You could use printed stamped card as well if you wanted to. So there's our scene from the front. There's our happy birthday from the middle, and let's put that to one side. Now what I've done is taken my layering circles dies, and I've picked out 2 dies. So I have that one and not that one. So in order to make this, so in my last card I did it with this, and you need 2 circles, not the two circles that's one and then the one that's directly smaller than that. You need the one that's smaller than that. You could even do another one that's smaller than that and have a thicker interlocking bit. I still think it needs reinforcing. So what you would do is you'd get your card, and you'd position your dies like that. And then what I do is I get a little sticky note thing, a post-it note, something like that. So when I've got an equal distance around that inside die, I then stick that down. I'd put another one down next to it as well to stop it moving, and run that through the your die cutter of choice. And I did that twice because what I want to do is glue those together to reinforce them a little bit more. You might even want to do 3 of them to really reinforce, but that is much stiffer than the one that I used. Also, I think as well, the scallop circle, as pretty as it looks, is just not suitable for this card. Now, the other thing that that's going to do is that is also going to cut out a disc here, and that's what you're left with that. Now, using that smaller die, I die cut one of the characters from the paper, and to reinforce that, I'm going to stick that on the bit of card that comes out after die cutting those. Now, I'm sorry I'm not doing that on camera, but my little die cutting machine, I've got the Stampin' Up Mini cut and emboss, and when I use it, it just shakes the entire table, and it's just not very pleasant to watch. So for this card, I'm not using the Rain or Shine stamp set or dies. I tend not to go for the character ones. I don't know why. I mean, everybody's different, aren't they? That's why the catalogue has so much in there, because you've got something that suits everybody. Yet one of my ladies on my team, she absolutely loves the anything that's character. So everybody's different. So I'm just going to let that dry off a bit. And then I'm going to get these 2. Now, I did say earlier on about you can get a little bit of seepage when you're doing this. And I think to do this, I need my silicone craft sheet. Now, it's taken me a long time to buy this silicone craft sheet, and I've actually just taken it out of its wrapper for the first time. Now, the thing about the silicone craft sheet is that if I was to just use my tablecloth here, this is not a wood table, this is a tablecloth, and I was to glue those down, I'd get glue everywhere. The thing about the silicone craft sheet is that glue doesn't stick to it. It just comes straight off. So I'm going to put it to the test. Which is a bit brave on a YouTube video, really, because if this goes wrong, I am not starting again. So I'm being as careful as I can to get a nice even layer all the way around, but I am concerned that there's going to be a little bit of oozing out of this. So we'll see how we go. I want this to match all the way around, and liquid glue gives us that little bit of room to get it stuck down, move it about if we need it. So there we are, got a bit of oozage. It's pretty much right. And then this, it just comes off. And it's done. It's not made a mess. So what we have is then to create our interlocking mechanism is that this will sit on one side of the card, this will be on the other, and they will now far more smoothly than what I made earlier will just lock. So let me show you what I mean. Now we're going to find the halfway point of this circle in a second. So we're going to stick that there, and then we are going to stick, so that will stick on that side, and then this is going to stick on the other side, and that should have a smoother opening and closing mechanism. We can only find out, can't we? So I'm going to eyeball that, to be honest. And actually what I'm going to do is end up flipping this round. So I'm going to mark here and here, but actually, so that's my center point, and I'm just going to mark there and there because I don't really want it to stick beyond that point. Okay, now we need to be a bit careful with this because I want to make sure that I get it exactly where I need it to be, which is a bit on the tricky side. So I'm going to line up that line there so that I can see where that goes there. And I'm going to put this here. It will be a bit of eyeballing. That's pretty good. So I'm using those pencil marks to help me there. Just pressing that down and then giving that a second just to go off. Now this is going to stick to this side of the card. So I'm just going to slot that in there. Just make sure that everything sits nicely. Yeah, that's looking good. And again, I'm just going to eyeball this. Let's get that round the right way. Now we'll slot that through there to give us our best chance of getting that in place. Just need to move over a tad. And there we are. Now I can stick that down. Open that up. Before that sets, just push that down in place. That moves so much better than those scallop circles. Such a shame because I absolutely adore that little tortoise. I think he's gorgeous. But in this one we've got our rabbit instead. So there we have it. If you can get this die cutting right, this isn't a difficult card. I just think the layering on there is really cute. I didn't want to put any sentiments on here. I just wanted this picture to do its thing. But you could put something up here if you wanted to, or perhaps something up here and something down there. It's entirely up to you. But this paper's too pretty to cover up, in my opinion. And that just looks like a February rainy day if I was looking out the window. The sun's out now. There's me saying earlier on it's raining and the sun's out. So there we have it. I hope you like that, and I hope it's inspired you to have a go at one of these yourself. And don't forget, if you want to see a digital copy of the catalogue wherever you are in those 7 countries, please drop me an email, taffycrafting@gmail.com, and I'll send that over to you. Don't forget, Celebration ends on the 28th of February. So if you wanted to take advantage of Celebration, you need to get your order in before the 28th of February and spend, I think in the UK it's £45, and I think everywhere else it is €60. Any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email or drop me a comment on here. I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.